Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron. Player ratings then. I've calmed down slightly, not much. I'm still absolutely over the moon with that performance and that result. But I have tried to compose myself over the last 5 or 10 minutes or so in order to do these player ratings in as constructive as a manner as possible. I don't want to sit here and give everybody a 10 out of 10 because I'm heightened in emotion, but it's probably likely to go that way, to be honest with you, because let's be honest, as I said, today was absolutely phenomenal. We've sat here on a number of occasions over the last couple of weeks or so and spoken about how in a relegation battle, and in a situation that we're in, you really need players that are willing to step up and fight, players that are willing to step up and give absolutely everything, even when, the cards are against them, even when, even when your chips are down, even when you've got your back against the wall, players that are going to stand up, take responsibility, take it on their shoulders, give it 110% in every single game, and battle your way through the situation that you're in. And I've been very critical of this Everton team for not being able to do that and not being able to show that over recent weeks. However, I don't think we can be critical of the boys tonight in that sense, because I think every single one of them stepped up, every single one of them gave 110%, every single one of them worked, every single one of them battled, and every single one of them understood how important that game of football was and how important it was that we got the 3 points. And even when we went down to 10 men with 10 minutes to go and 14 minutes, or effectively near enough 25 minutes, half an hour to go, in which we went down to 10 men when Alan was sent off wrongly, in my opinion, we still showed that desire, we still showed that battle, we still showed that commitment, we still showed that energy. And if anything, the players give an extra sort of 5 or 10%. It would have been very easy for this Everton team to have dropped their heads when we went down to 10 men, to have thought, oh, it's game over now, the referee's against us, because let's be honest, it was again one of the most corrupt and biased refereeing performances I think I've ever seen in a game of football. But the players didn't drop their heads, they didn't feel sorry for themselves, they didn't think, oh, do you know what, we're out of this, we're going to lose this game. They didn't. They picked themselves back up, they dusted themselves back off, and they give that extra 10, 15, 20%, and they went on to win what was a deserved victory, and a victory which was absolutely what we needed, and the celebrations that followed were amazing. That is what it is to be an Evertonian. That's what it means to be an Evertonian. That's what it means to represent Nil Satis Nisi Optimum. We haven't had many of those moments, in recent years, never mind this season, where we've won games in that manner, really, really important games in that manner. So when we do so, you could very clearly see how much it meant to every single one of those fans inside Goodison Park, and I'm sure every single one of the Evertonians watching at home had a very, very similar feeling, and how much it meant to the players as well. You saw Richarlison running over to join the celebrations, Seamus Coleman at the end of the game, Mason Holgate at the end of the game. A lot of players that were visibly absolutely over the moon with that result, and it just shows that they can give everything. They do know what it means to play for this football club. They do know what it means to work hard. They do know what it means to battle. They do know what it means to give absolutely everything. We just have to show that more often now, because that's all we expect as Evertonians. We don't expect to win 5, 6, 7, 8-0 week in, week out. We don't expect unbelievable performances week in, week out. What we expect is the players to turn up and give absolutely everything every single time they're on that pitch. And that was what we saw today. And if we see more of that, and if we get more of that over the next couple of weeks, we will get more results, and we will eventually find our way out of this situation that we're in. Frank Lampard has confirmed that he has broke his hand in the celebrations of today's game, which just shows how important it was to Frank as well. And yeah, it was unbelievable. It was absolutely unbelievable. I'm trying to compose myself. I'm trying to find a happy medium to be able to do these player ratings in as constructive as a way as possible. But you know what? I said in the instant match reaction a couple of times, I'm not going to get myself too overly excited about it. I'm not going to get myself too overhyped. And I understand that, we're definitely not out of the situation, and there's still a lot of football to be played, and we've got to use this performance as a catalyst. Now, this is no good if we're going to turn up in a couple of weeks. Well, Sunday, obviously, against Palace, but specifically in a couple of weeks against West Ham, and lose, comfortably again away from home, or we're going to lose to Man United. We need to use use this as a catalyst. But you know what? I am gonna get a 10. I am gonna get I'm gonna be happy with this. I am gonna get a little bit over the top. I am gonna be a little bit over the moon with it. I might be reacting a little bit too heavily. You might be sitting there thinking, "Oh, Cam, you're overreacting a bit there. We've only won one game of football." But when do Everton ever win games of football like that, where we give absolutely everything, and then we win a must-win game in the last moment? And B, when do we ever win games that we need to win? How many times have we sat here and said, must win this, absolute must win this, absolute must win this, and we have lost? You know, literally Sunday was an example of that, whereas today we all went into it and said, absolute must win this, and we've won. So I will be over the moon with it. I will enjoy it. I will wake up with a massive smile on my face tomorrow. I will go into the weekend with an absolutely gargantuan smile on my face, and I'll be talking about this one until Sunday, because we don't have many of these. Anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's get into the player ratings today. We have done the instant match reaction. I think nearly 500 people come and watched it live again, which is mad. The numbers we're getting at the moment on the channel is crazy. So if you haven't checked it out, please do so after this video. If you are enjoying this one, please leave a like and subscribe. Asmir Begovic in goal then. I'm going to give Asmir a 9.5 out of 10. I don't think he was quite a 10. I think some of his distribution could have improved, and I don't think he was put under an immense amount of pressure, to maybe sort of warrant what a 10 out of 10 would be. However, everything that he had to deal with, he dealt with it well. He commanded his box. The backline seemed confident with him in front of, behind them, which is a good tell and an indication as well. And he didn't put a foot wrong. He done everything he needed to do well. As I said, I don't think Newcastle particularly threatened. I don't think Chris Wood particularly threatened them. I don't think they had many opportunities where you were sort of looking, thinking, the causing the goalkeeper problems here. They had a couple of half chances here and there. Everything he dealt with, you would almost expect him to deal with. He did make a couple of good saves, but ultimately I can't sit here and criticise him for doing it. I've seen a couple of people in the comments of the instant match reaction saying, "Oh, keep mentally end of the season, this, that and the other," as if Jordan Pickford has been shite. Let's be honest, Jordan Pickford has been immense for the last year and a half as well, so that's a decision that the manager will have to make. But having said that, Asmir Begovic, in what he had to do, done it very, very well today. He put in a really good performance. He worked hard, and he deserves that rating. Right back then, Seamus Coleman. Seamus is gonna get Seamus is getting a 10 out of 10. Fuck it. Not ours. Seamus is getting a 10 out of 10. I didn't give him a 1 out of 10 last time out. And that's the beauty of these player ratings, is they're never based on another game. He was dreadful against Wolves and he got, a 1 or 2 out of 10. He was fantastic tonight. He had a big part to play in the goal. His desire was there, his commitment. He wasn't shitting out of challenges, which is really, really important. A couple of times Seamus Coleman has been definitely... there was moments in previous games where you could maybe look at Seamus Coleman and think, have you fully committed into that tackle on a number of occasions, whereas today you couldn't say that. Near enough every tackle that he had to make, he committed fully into, and he was committed into winning the ball in, and that's exactly what he should be doing. He's the captain, he's the leader, he's the experience, he's the player that the likes of Anthony Gordon, Richarlison, etc. should be looking up to and should be taking inspiration from. So when you're seeing him going into 50-50, he's committed as anything, and not always winning them, because it's a 50-50, you don't always win it, but committed to it, not shitting out of it, not being scared. That's exactly what we want to see from Seamus Coleman, and that's what he did today. And again, as I said, big part of playing the goal. Thought he defended relatively well. I actually don't think Newcastle caused us many problems, to be honest with you. I don't think there was many issues caused by this Newcastle team. I think they were fairly tame. I think Eddie Howe set up for them to go and make it difficult for us and to go away with a point. I think they would have took a point all day long. I think it was quite a negative style and a negative setup from Eddie Howe, but it didn't work ultimately. But yeah, Seamus Coleman was fantastic for me. Worked hard, battled, fought, worked his arse off, so he's getting a 10 out of 10. Michael Keane. Michael Keane's going to get an 8 out of 10 for me. As I said, I think he done really, really well. To be honest, I don't think he was ever put under an immense amount of pressure. As I said, Chris Wood was winning the aerial battles, he was winning the one-on-ones, but it never really come of anything. And it's difficult really when you're rating the defence, because I'm not going to sit here and give them all 10 out of 10s for the sake of it, even though I'm riding on emotion at the moment, but you've got to give them a fair score. And whilst they weren't put under a silly amount of pressure, whilst they weren't put under a particular, a flurry of chances, a flurry of opportunities, the odd bit of momentum that Newcastle did have, and they didn't have much of it during the game, but the odd bit of momentum that Newcastle did have, the backline dealt with, and the backline were able to manage. And there was a couple of, sort of heart in your mouth moments. Of course there was, because that's what happens in games like this. When a game's so important and you're so desperate for the win, you will have moments like that. But I genuinely thought the defence dealt with it in a really calm, professional manner, and Michael Keane was a part of that. And considering Michael Keane, considering Michael Keane had been getting a lot of stick recently, and his last performance against Tottenham was an absolute disaster. He come off at half time, obviously didn't feature against Wolves. I think to bounce back with what was a really, really solid performance today was worth crediting and was worth talking about. So Michael Keane is getting an 8. Mason Allgate next to him can get an 8 as well. I think very, very similarly. Good on the ball. His passing at times was a little bit rough, especially in that opening 10 or 15 minutes. I think his passing was caught out a couple of times. But again, generally worked hard. When he had to deal with the situations, he did deal with them. When we were put under a little bit of pressure towards the end of the game, especially when we went 1-0 up, he dealt with the balls coming into the box. He dealt with the attackers trying to get through, and create opportunities. And I thought he genuinely put a really solid performance in. So we can get an 8 as well. Ben Godfrey at left back. Ben Godfrey's going to get a 9 out of 10. Again, being asked to play left back, an unnatural position for Ben. And you know what you get when Ben Godfrey plays left back. You're going to get a defensive performance, which is absolutely fantastic. You're going to get a defender who works his arse off, battles, gives everything, hard in the challenge, difficult to beat, difficult for attackers to run past because of his pace and his agility and his athleticism. But you will lack the forward play. You will lack the forward thinking left back. You will lack the crosses coming into the box. You will lack all of that because he's not an attacker. Ben Godfrey, he simply isn't. He's a defender, and that's that. But having said that, I thought he was fantastic today. Again, everything that he had to deal with, he dealt with well, albeit, again, as I've just said, with the centre-backs, Newcastle didn't put us under a lot of pressure, but he dealt with what pressure he needed to deal with. He was hard in the challenge, he was battling, he was throwing the tackles in, he was giving everything, he was defending well, he was working really, really hard. And I just thought, as I said, he was solid today. Again, not a massive standout performance because there wasn't a lot to stand out from a defensive point of view because Newcastle didn't have an awful lot in the game. But from a general point of view, I thought he done really, really well. So he's getting a 9 out of 10. Into the midfield then, Abdoulaye Doucouré, he's going to get a 9.5 out of 10. Great performance. Worked hard, battled, showed that commitment, showed that desire, showed that passion, showed that energy, showed that fight. Again, every time the ball sort of escaped him, he went straight back in to try and get it back. He used his strength on a couple of occasions to just sort of nullify Newcastle's attack and take a little bit of the pressure out the situation and slow the game down a little bit. He did lose the ball a couple of times. His passing was a little bit off. And we know that with Abdoulaye Doucouré, he's not the greatest passer of a ball. However, he recovered well. He won the ball back when he needed to. He was pushing and pushing and pushing. Even till the last seconds of the game, he was pushing and pushing and pushing to try and get forward, to try and create something, to try and make something happen. And yeah, I just thought he done really, really well today. Thought he worked hard, thought he battled, thought he partnered well with Alan, especially in a 2. We've spoke a lot recently about needing to play a 3 and that need to have a 3 in the midfield. And in a 2, I thought the pair of them played really, really well today. So Doucouré can get a 9.5. Alan is getting a 10. Not asked about the sending off. It wasn't a sending off. Let's be perfectly honest. If you've not watched it again, yes, it's a bit of a rash challenge, but A, it was his first tackle. And B, he doesn't make any contact with Alan St-Maximin whatsoever. So yes, it was a bit rash. Yes, it was a bit tough, but it was a tactical challenge in which he made absolutely no contact with the attacker whatsoever. So it was a yellow card at best. And Alan's performance up until then, and bearing in mind he got sent off on the 83rd minute, so practically the entire game. He was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. He won every ball back. He battled. He fought for every ball. Even in those periods of play where other players maybe lost a little bit of belief in themselves, lost a little bit of confidence in themselves. Alan was that one constant. Alan was that one player who was fighting for every ball, who was winning every ball back, who was battling, who was working hard, who was showing that desire. And as I said, I'm not going to mark him down for the sending off because I think it's a ridiculous decision. And even if it was a sending off, I don't care. He showed the desire, he showed the fight, he showed everything we needed him to show. And, you know, as I said, for me, he was an absolute 10 out of 10 today. He was an absolute 10 out of 10. Some people will disagree because of the sending off. Some people will think it was a silly, rash challenge. But for me, that's what we want. That's what you need to see in a relegation battle. Not players getting sent off, but you need to see fight. You need to see desire. You need to see non-stop commitment players that if they lose the ball, they'll go and win it back. And if other players lose the ball, they'll go and win it back. And that's exactly what Alan did today. And... you know, again for me, he was fabulous. So he's getting a 10 out of 10. Into the forward line then, Alex Iwobi, match winner, big 17, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Listen, for what he lacks, Alex Iwobi, and for all of the criticism that he was being given, and for all of the criticism that people have aimed towards him in the past, other than the goal, which we'll talk about in isolation. You know, again, he didn't particularly create an awful lot of chances today. He wasn't particularly, you know, moving the ball forward or having shots at goal or creating chances. But what he didn't stop doing all game, and I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but I certainly noticed it. What he didn't stop doing all game was running, was working hard, was tracking players down, was getting at players when they had the ball. Whenever a Newcastle player had the ball, he was straight in there. He was getting at them. He was winning it back. He was wanting to win the ball. He was wanting to get it. He didn't stop working his bollocks off from minute 1 to minute 90. And as I said before, and I will say it again, that is all we demand as fans of this football club. All as we demand as players give absolutely everything, 110% every single time they're on that pitch. Every single time they put that royal blue shirt on, they fight for every ball, they chase every ball, they chase every man, they work hard, they battle, they show that desire. We don't ask for them to all to score hat-tricks every game. We don't ask for them all to put in 10 out of 10 performances every game. We understand people make mistakes. We understand people have off games. We understand people have difficult times. We get that. But what we will not stand for is players walking around, players not giving it 110%, players not running for every ball he can, players shitting out of 50-50 challenges, etc., etc. And Alex Iwobi was the opposite of that today. He chased every ball down, every 50-50. He went in hard, which has been a criticism of his in the past, not going into 50-50s hard. He went in hard. He battled. His desire was there. His commitment was there. And he got the winning goal, and it was a great finish, by the way. Really, really well worked goal. Good ball in by Alex Iwobi in the first place. Fantastic flick from Dom, and a great finish. And as I said in the instant match reaction, how many times have we sat here before and analysed Alex Iwobi's one-on-one opportunities in which he's missed and said, you can see he's thinking too much into it. He's worrying about the outcome. He's thinking, where am I going to place this? What if it doesn't go in? And you can see via his body language and his demeanour after he misses those chances, you can tell that he was never confident. Today, I can guarantee you there wasn't one thought slipped into his mind when that ball come back to him of I'm going to miss this. Every thought that was in his mind was bang, 1-0, buried, it is right. And that's exactly what he did. And that's what that little bit of confidence, that's what that little bit of momentum does for you. And he was brilliant today. He was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, 10 out of 10 for Alex Iwobi. Into the wingers then, Demarai Gray. I'm going to give Demarai Gray an 8.5. I think he worked really, really hard. I think his desire was there. I think his commitment was there. I think he was trying to be a little bit too maybe clever in the first half. I think he was trying maybe a little bit too much, trying to take the world on a little bit, if you like, instead of looking for the easy pass, instead of trying to move the easy pass. But look, he's still coming back from injury. He's clearly not at 100%. He's clearly not at that match fitness, peakness of where he needs to be. But he worked hard, he battled, he's got that directness, Demarai Gray, that will send shivers up many a Premier League defender's backs, because they just don't know what he's going to do next because of his directness, because of his ability, because of his quality. And it wasn't particularly on show today, but he worked hard, he battled, he showed that desire, the commitment was there, the energy was there. And I think, as I said, the quality wasn't necessarily there, but in a game like that, he done his part, so he's getting an 8.5. Anthony Gordon, on the other side, is getting a 10 out of 10, again, for me. That lad is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I love Anthony Gordon with every bone of my body. If I could invite him round for tea and make him whatever his favourite meal is, I absolutely would every day of the week. He embodies everything that is an Everton player. He embodies everything that should be an Everton player. Fight, desire, commitment, energy, just want to win, want to battle, want to fight. You've seen him coming over to the park end when we had the corner at the end of the game, riling the fans up. He loves the fans. He loves everything about it. He's just brilliant. And yes, can he work on his final product? Yes. Can he work on his delivery? Yes. Can he work on his chance creation? Yes. But Anthony Gordon has been the one constant over the last 4 or 5 weeks or so. When we've played well, when we've played poorly, he's been the one constant, and that constant is a player that will always give 110% every single time he's on that pitch. And what we saw today was every player giving 110% every single time they're on that pitch, but Anthony Gordon does it week in, week out without failure, and he deserves massive amounts of credit for that. And today again, he was without a shadow of a doubt a 10 out of 10 performance. He was amazing. And then Richarlison, I'm going to give Richarlison I'm going to give him a 10 as well. On his performance, I'd probably give him maybe a 9.5. I think his work rate was there. I think his desire was there. I think he was a little bit maybe isolated. He worked hard. He battled for every ball. He held every ball up. He passed it off well. But he wasn't particularly in the game as much as I would have liked him to be. He wasn't particularly facing goal as much as I would have liked him to have been. However, the fact that he went off and stood next to Frank Lampard for the 15 minutes that he was off, didn't sit down once, and then ran the whole length of the pitch to celebrate with his teammates, just shows A, how much this football club means to him, and B, the fact that he's an Evertonian. As I said in the instant match reaction, if you'd never watched football before, if you didn't know a thing about Everton, you would swear that lad was born on County Road and grew up and was bred an Evertonian. I just love the lad. I absolutely love him. I think he's amazing. I think he's brilliant. I think he shows that desire, the commitment, the fight, and he shows what's needed in a relegation battle. They all showed that today. But players like Anthony Gordon and Richarlison show that every week, and that's what we need to see every week. So yeah, Richie's getting a 10. If you are enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. That would mean a massive amount to me. On to the subs then. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dom can get a 8. Come on. Decide to, hold the ball up. I think he gave Dan Burns something else to think about, something different to think about, something different to worry about as well. A big physical centre forward. I think Dan Burns had a fairly comfortable afternoon until Dominic Calvert-Lewin come on, and then he had to adapt his play a little bit and have a little bit of thing. And the assist for Alex Iwobi's goal is brilliant. He gets it in, he holds it up, he does enough, and then he flicks it behind him, and it's a really well weighted ball into Alex Iwobi, so he's getting an 8.5. Andros Townsend can get a 7. Thought come on, ran around a bit, worked hard, wasn't really in the game, don't even know if he had a touch of the ball, to be honest, but ran around, worked hard. And Andre Gomez can get a 7.5 as well, because he come on, done very similarly, but he put a couple of tackles in and a couple of important blocks in to just break the game up a little bit. So yeah, Frank Lampard is getting a 10. Because look how much it means to him. He broke his hand in the celebrations. I think he made the right substitution at the right time. I would have maybe made the substitution a bit earlier, but it doesn't matter. We've won the game. The fella who handcuffed himself to the post or zip-tied himself to the post, whatever, he can get a 10, because there was actually a moment in the game where Newcastle were starting to build a little bit of momentum up, and I thought he'd done it at the wrong time because we weren't winning, and I thought if we don't win, then he's going to, it's his, what's he doing that for? But he actually broke up the play a little bit, and it got the crowd up, it got the crowd riling. Whatever he done it for, listen, don't condone it. You shouldn't be doing that, blah, 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 blah. But you can get a 10 because we've won. And yeah. And Craig Pawson is getting a -600. Again, another corrupt performance. Again, another corrupt official. But forget it, because we're not talking about that. We're talking about Everton Football Club, and what a performance that was. That's absolutely what we saw tonight, says JT. Exactly. Unbelievable results, unbelievable performance. And yeah, exactly what we needed to see, and exactly what we wanted to see as Evertonians. And if we can see that week in, week out, then I think we'll be okay. We know these players can do it. We know these players can show it. They can show that commitment. They can show that desire. They can show that energy. James says, sorry, Cam. No worries, no need to apologise. Listen, I'm not saying we're out of it, because we're not out of it. We're still very much in it. But performances like that, and desire and commitment and fight like that will get you out of it. And that's what we need to see on a more consistent basis. This needs to be a catalyst now to build on and to go and get a good run of form going and a good run of results, and take that into the next couple of weeks. But get in. We are going to leave it there then. Sorry I couldn't get involved in all the live comments. My mouth is absolutely in bits, so I'm going to go and lie down. If you have enjoyed this one, please hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you haven't checked out the instant match reaction, please do so. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below. If you watched it as a live stream, big thanks for getting involved in the live comments. Yeah, if you've enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Get in, up the toffees. What a win, what a result. That's what we need to see. That's what we wanted to see. That's my football club. Get in. Big thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.